Richard with Kansas Freedom News. Welcome to Part 3, the final part of the Jackson County, Kansas Planning and Zoning meeting, September 5th, 2024. First off, I would like to thank the Commission for voting with we the people. Very much appreciate it. I think a lot of us would really appreciate the way they voted and stuck behind us. I would also like to take this moment to remind you, fellow members of the public, to always attend your public meetings, whether it be the planning and zoning, commissioners, city commissioners, school board. Always attend your meetings, take a camera, record it. Voice your opinion. If you think it's wrong, speak up. With that said, I would like to thank you again. And to thank all those who were there at the meeting as well. And always remember, if you don't stand up for your own rights, you don't stand up for yourself and your community, nobody else will. So with that said, enjoy the rest and final part of this meeting, and God bless.
Okay, like everybody else in the county, was kind of taken by surprise in November of 22 when a company named Nextera showed up in the county somewhere, commissioner's meeting, front yard, I don't know, and announced their plan to put a tremendous facility in the southwestern portion of the county, and we as a board establish or recommend county commissioners regulations that apply not just to a portion of the county, they apply to the entire county. And so I started tracking these newspaper articles in our local Holton Recorder, and I think I really didn't start until April 5th of 23 was the first article I cut out. And the last one I cut out was in April of 24. And in that 12-month period, I've got 23 or 25 articles here. And I try to get them all in this view. And that's over half of the publishings that they put out on a weekly basis, 52 weeks a year. The last one really bothered me because it says here that the the county commission still work on solar regulations, and they promised us in an article here last June that they'd have regulations drafted and presented to us by August. So that never happened. So here it is, July 31st, and I quit cutting them out in April. I mean, it's got to be every other, or not every week, there's an article or a letter to the editor or something. And it's 95% against solar. And so I started looking into it and doing my research. And it says here the county commission is going to draft regulations and continue to be developed by the Jackson County Commission, and they will be handed over to the members of the Jackson County Planning Commission for revision. It's been reported. And then down a little further, it says when the commissioners originally discussed the process for drafting solar regulations, they decided, and then it says in common, in communications with the planning commission, which I don't remember any communications, to create the outline for the proposed regulations with Hendricks, since he's already prepared to attend the commission meetings each week. And then there's some other articles that are quotes in the article I don't care to share, but if you want to go to July 31st, you can reread that issue yourself. I don't remember any of the commissioners coming or asking me or telling this board what the process is going to be. And by Kansas statute, they're correct. You do not have to initiate the planning commission, and their process is legal by all concerns. I mean, we still have to be in the process and make recommendations. But what really bothers me about this whole thing, it's an unreliable, unproven technology that works at best 4 to 6 hours a day. And we're going to put 5,000 to 8,000 acres of panels where they're going to go out and sterilize the ground because they don't want weeds growing up in it. And which is going to increase runoff because all the vegetation's not there to catch it. They're composed of highly toxic, rare earth minerals. If we get a hailstorm or a deluge of rain damages those panels and they get released into the watershed, Jackson County will be polluting potentially Cross Creek Rivershed, which will contaminate the water supply of Rossville, Kansas, which could generate some liability for the county. And I'm not saying the technology can't get any better, but at present, we're considering a moratorium on the wind for reasons, I don't know. I don't know why they don't carry equal weight on solar, because for the same obvious reasons. And I just think it's wise on our part to recommend that we also include solar with the wind energy as an unreliable resource, which is not going to give Jackson County any benefit at all other than they're jeopardizing the future of our property. And companies that are going to be building these things are going to, during or short after construction, sell that portion to a subsidiary company with no assets. And if anything ever happens, they go, go ahead and sue us, we ain't got money anyway. The parent companies won't disappear with all time. So I think this needs to be thought through a little more for the same reason they want to think through the windmill process. I don't see any difference between the two. And I think in the moratorium we ought to include both wind and solar. 2 years from now, circumstances could be different. I don't think that it's in the best interest of the citizens of the county to risk the liability for a potential disaster. I don't know if anybody else is doing any research into it, but there's a lot of it out there. And these things in their service life as they need to be replaced. They don't haul them off down to the Jackson County landfill or out of state or out of county. They're just going to stack them out there on the property now, and then when they do decommission, they're probably just going to walk away. It's our problem. And I just don't want to take that risk. That's my 2 cents. If anybody else wants to gladly come around. So I'd make a big motion that we include solar with wind energy, put a moratorium on both of them, give this county a chance to breathe and think this through. 24 months. I'm just adding and solar to the wind energy. And hopefully this will be recorded. We'll have fair attendance at the commissioners meeting and stress that there's a lot of concern. Because I've talked to a lot of people. It's not an overwhelming popular opinion in this county. Nobody wants to wake up. I wake up in the morning, get on my deck, look at my farm pond and the broom field. I don't want to look across the road and see the whole quarter section full of solar panels. It'll look right on my horizon above the tree line to the south on Cedar Creek by Denison. You see windmills on the hills.
That's incredible pollution, though.
I'm sorry?
That's incredible pollution, though. Yeah, I mean, it's wasteful.
There's
wasteful technology.
I could spend hours in here talking about what I've seen on the internet and what's happened in other counties. the firefighters union in Canada refuses to fight any fires on wind turbines or solar panels. They're toxic and they're deadly and they're almost impossible to put out. The county commission has the option to accept our recommendation to put the moratorium for 2 years, not put it on the floor, put it in front of them, and let them make the final decision. The citizens will eventually be the judge.
There's a second to the motion. Is there an alternative motion proposed? Sorry. Okay. Okay, so moving second to make sure I have the motion correct. I was written down a part of the statement, so.
Do you need to know where to insert the words that you're asking?
Would you like me to say the motion, please? Just for the record. I'm not asking you to rephrase it, just repeat it.
I'd like to add the words "and solar" in the title of the resolution after commercial wind and before energy projects.
Okay, so it would read,
In the title of the resolution. And in the third line of the first paragraph, it says commercial wind. I'd like to add "and solar energy electric generation." And in the first bullet, I'd like to add at the end of the sentence, wind and solar, the word "and solar, energy electrical generating projects."
to read that. So just to officially repeat the motion, is to extend the moratorium on commercial wind and solar energy projects in Jackson County. In the first paragraph, of the current resolution, third line, would read, which commercial wind energy and solar electrical generation projects.
Well, between wind and energy.
Right.
Wind and solar energy.
Electrical generation on the bottom. And then in this statement, this section.
First bullet.
First, number 1 under number 4. Next to the last line, wind and solar energy generating projects.
Right. Correct. And see anywhere else in the document. 3 places.
You made it second, so I assume the motion is clear. Make it say what it is.
Thank you.
Okay, the motion's, that motion is on the floor. I think it's, again, that's, you give a raise of hands, not voice, on this issue. So we need to start down at this end, and then ask all in favor, then we go from this out. So just a second. Thank you, you're right. Thank you. Is there any discussion on the floor? You want to order first?
No.
Okay. Any discussion on the, as far as the public? So again, sorry, name please again. Sorry, just for the record.
My name is Matt Devader, resident of Jackson County. Previous to moving back to Jackson County in 2009, I lived in California, in the Central Valley. Firsthand, I have experience with exactly what Mr. Willett said about these companies after the funding, whether it be tax dollars or investments, dry up, they tend to walk away. And because the definition by Kansas, the Kansas Corporation Commission, it defines the project as a power plant. When that power plant becomes its own corporation, that corporation can be dissolved. No one upstream, other corporations get harmed. here, or who takes care of it after that? I mean, we're talking 3 million, 5 million solar panels. We can all put all our money together here in Jackson County. We don't have $350, $450 million to clean that up. That would take perhaps an act of Congress or something else. And I think these are the things we need to be concerned with what I've seen happen in other states. I'm an environmentalist. I'm kind of a hippie liberal when it comes to, I'm farm organic and I believe in green energy, have some at my home. There's a number of other people here that do too, that are here tonight. We don't oppose that, but at the industrial level, what I know, I've studied this for a number of decades, 14 years I've been on the Federal Resource Conservation Development. This does not scale up well yet. And that's why I like the 24 months thing, because a lot can happen in 24 months. That technology can really take a big jump as more of this is done in other places. I hate to say we'll make it someone else's problem, but as the technology is tested out other places, in 2 years, not 24 months, this could be so much better that instead of being 5,000 acres, they could be producing the same power in 200 acres as the efficiency increases. That's a whole lot more palatable. Or maybe the transmission technology changes, the rules change, and they send it closer to the power plant or whatever. But I think it's important that you as a board, even though the commission doesn't final say, that you as a board at least float this out there, because the public here tonight, as well as a lot of the public I've talked to, don't support the current plans for the next era and so forth. So I would urge you as a board to consider this motion to make this moratorium. And if anybody has any questions about, renewable energy, green energy, I don't think we have to field those questions. That's what I think is what I meant for the field.
Can I ask a question? Yes. So we're, the ones out here that are opposed to this, just so we have like kind of an idea, where would you say like the cutoff is in, it's say John Johnson has a quarter section and he wants to supplement his farming income and says I have 40 acres here that I could give up and put solar panels on. Where do you draw the line on that's industrial, that's someone attempting to make a living and doing something to help supplement their income? And this is just, so, you know what I mean? So,
Excellent question. And I think you're talking about sovereignty of your own land, which is really what some of us say, hey, maybe we should even have the zoning because we lose sovereignty of our own land of getting to have your trailer parked out there, or, you have a trailer there while your home is being built or whatever. So we have these rules already that already violate our sovereignty of our own land. That's the good of the general public, would not agree. So if I was going to put in a front site, got a hold of me and said, hey Matt, you know what, you're into guns, we're into guns, we want to make a Kansas location there. Would that not be any different? I mean, I put up the backstops and all the safety and everything, but people around here are going to have to hear, fully automatic weapons and, lots of people coming and going. That would be a way for me to subsidize my farm income, though.
right. So John Johnson wants to put 48 acre solar panels. I'm saying, where do you draw the line? I'm talking about just strictly solar, because that's what we're talking about.
Okay.
So where, the opposition, where do you draw the line and say, this is somebody supplementing their income, this is an industrial solar?
So Kansas Corporation Commission has rules about what's a power plant.
Okay.
That's a law.
Steve?
I'll speak to that. I mean, this is my personal opinion, but I would say he could supplement that to his heart's content as long as that's what he needed for his own personal use. I think anything beyond that is a business. Right? That's right. And every other business in this county is zoned and regulated. Right? I can't put in a hog operation on my place because I'm not zoned for it.
So you're
Well,
saying,
actually, I am, but
you're saying when it gets to the point of like a power company?
yeah, because, I mean, I'm sure there's a definition somewhere, but once it becomes industrial, once it becomes a commercial operation, right? I mean, look at the trucking industry. Same deal. I mean, I can take my trailer and haul my stuff around, but the minute I start taking money for it, now I have to get all my KDOT stuff and apply for this, that, and the other. I don't even know how that works, but I know it's a big deal, right? So I'd say, the difference is, and I I just know a couple people here, but I would guess, again, I know Matt, I'm not against solar energy. I have a good friend of mine that's got his whole shed covered with it. And he produces his own power, and he sells off the extra during the day because he doesn't have batteries. I'm not opposed to that. That's great. Knock yourself out. I mean, I'd love to live off the grid. But the problem, like somebody else said, is when you have to look at, I don't want to go out my window and look at 200 acres of solar panel, right? So, I mean, to answer your question, I'd say the difference is commercial versus non-commercial, right?
I mean, we already have regulations on windmills for personal use. There are people that have them in Jackson County. A gentleman lives right over here on 4th Street and got an array of solar panels in his backyard. Seen him drive by. But they're for personal use. It's when they sell them, acres and acres, and it's not beyond personal use, it's for distribution within the grid.
I mean, you can even look at the variance, like, let's say the three of you guys and us two live on a section, and we want to put a bunch of power panels on my property, but we all want to share it. And we come before the board, get a variance to have our own little personal power system, right? We're not putting up thousands of acres to do that. You can accomplish that with probably a couple panels, which is not a lot.
I think it really just comes down to the stopping point is when it goes from personal use, or like he said, where you and some neighbors get together, to business use. If it's a company coming in like Next Air,
Next year,
if it's a company like this coming in and they're wanting to build on hundreds or thousands of acres, then that's where it comes from.
another thing that people haven't considered, and I don't mean to jump in, but I want to make this point. The proposed site is in some of the worst roads in Jackson County. There's a wildfire out of control, and it starts a fire in the panel, we're going to have toxic cloud. Nemaha or Shawnee counties going to catch the grip from all that. And these are not the only unpopulated areas. You have around Whiting and northeast or southeast Jackson County, it's similar. And, left their foot in the door at this period of time. A couple years from now, they're going to hit another area of the county. I just think the 2-year moratorium gives a chance for technology to catch up and for us to take a breath and walk into this season. There are a lot of counties that have moratoriums in place now in Kansas. I meant to print out the list. It is substantial.
Any other comments?
So I got 2 quick points. The first point, I think there's a consensus among the room that liability is a huge concern. When it's personal use, if I put panels on my property, that's my personal liability, and that's what I'm responsible for. So at the end of the service life, it's my responsibility to get rid of that. But when it's a big corporation, they sell out or do what big corporations do, because corporations are not around to take responsibility as much as they are to make money. And if it's going to cost a bunch of money, they're going to be out, right? The public's going to be left in the bill. And the last point I'll make is, I have yet to meet one person or see one sign or read any amount of articles that have stated that anybody in Jackson County constituency is in favor of this project.
This point I was trying to make with the articles.
I've met exactly 0, and I've seen exactly 0 signs, and I've seen exactly 0 articles.
Any other comments?
Yes. So, I'm going to throw a wrench in the works. This moratorium is for Article 30, which is just wind. There isn't anything in Article 30 about solar. Okay, so I'm just going to point that out. You can make that recommendation, but I don't know if that's going to come back and the same.
Well, I think isn't that what you're trying to do here, is just include solar energy?
It's an amendment to Article 30, which Article 30 has nothing about solar in it. It's just wind.
So
I'm just putting that out there, that could come back.
What was he adding? Wasn't that Article 30?
That was the resolution.
Oh, right,
What she's referring to is just refers to mission, so that's.
The article in the zoning regulations.
Oh.
The zoning regulations don't have anything about solar in them. And what they're proposing to amend is on Article 30 for the moratorium on wind. Article 30 doesn't have anything about solar, so that may be an issue. That's right, that's all I'm saying is, commissioners.
How did Article 30 get developed?
Or whenever they did the regulations. So all I'm saying is that might be an issue if the attorney looks at it and says, well, there isn't anything in Article 30 about solar. That's all I'm saying. I'm just pointing that out.
This report proposed tonight, and then this, whatever action this board takes, that goes to the
Right.
county commission for
Right.
everything, and goes that direction.
Not saying that would be the end all of like that topic.
Yes.
Article 31 that addresses solar, but it basically copies solar, just solar instead.
At some point possibly, we cannot do that tonight, because that one has required writing a whole Article 31, which, we are not prepared to do that this evening.
But they should, yeah. Okay.
At some point there will be more articles. But that's, will be the case. Fill in these gaps that we're all asking about. Another question over Pearson? Anything else to add? Okay. We'll make more discussion before we call for the vote.
I'd like to call for the vote, and if it requires rewriting the regulations, I think, like I said, it's a recommendation when we pass it. I'd like to present it to them, and they still have the right to do what they choose to do. But I would hope they come back and say, well, you need to write an Article 39, whatever the next one is, concerning solar. But right now, this form of resolution, that's all I'm asking for, is to include solar and moratorium. Yes.
If they would turn this down, we have to have another public hearing. Just, or which is just in, since we're trying to add solar in there. If they turn this down, we would have another public hearing.
Well, we have zoning regs concerning the wind energy conversion systems. It has nothing to do with the moratorium. The moratorium is saying, you ain't gonna put a windmill in here every 2 years. We're trying to renew it. Whether we have zoning regs or not, include the moratorium.
What I'm saying, Steve, is if they say Article 30 is just a moratorium on wind, will we have to do this whole process over again? Or just wind? Because that's all, if the attorney looks at it and says, this is just me, you know.
I'm saying the moratorium and the zoning regs are two different things. We have zoning regs, it's a half a page long. You can read it in 2 minutes. It just has a couple of simple sentences that, and really deals more with home use, personal use. But the moratorium, our county resolution, is a ban. Nothing to do with the zoning. Well, I'm thinking it's proven in our best interest, especially if you're planning on raising your children and grandchildren. Because I think, there's long-term issues with residents who really need to start thinking about. They really need to get on their computer and put what's over them.
We can all vote on the
30, our existing regulations only deal with wind.
So we can't add solar to this one?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's a resolution.
So there might be a legal question at the county commission level, so she's explaining. Because solar is not part of section 30. That will be handled by people who are not present for tonight.
Do they not know what a moratorium is? I clearly not. We have to have a separate moratorium for solar and a separate one for wind.
No. I don't think we do.
Awesome. For some of the reasons we talked about that. Yes.
If that's a question of whether, how to make it legal, Jay Sims, can we just, instead of inserting words into that document, can we create a new resolution that gets rid of the wind references and adds the solar references? And have two resolutions so they're separate and you won't negate one with the other or throw it out legally if something's wrong with it legally? Just an idea.
That is a possibility. We're not prepared to write that resolution tonight. This would be the resolution by the county commission. That's would be prepared by the county council. Is there another section over?
From my understanding, this is basically a vote to show the intent to the commissioners one way or another, and the commissioners, it's on their shoulders, their legal counsel to sort it out in the back end. Okay. So basically, you guys are just establishing intent at this point.
Yeah, we need to almost present. Another question before? Okay. Ready to vote. So, all in favor? Who's nominating for this? Strawberry at the north end of the table, and wait a second. So, on the motion to state, how do you vote?
In favor of solar and wind being banned.
How do you vote, Governor?
I wish we had a moratorium on wind and solar.
So, in favor of the motion?
If that is what the motion is.
That is the motion, which you second.
Okay.
I vote no. Yes or no? Okay, 3 yeses, 1 no, the motion carries. Thank you very much.
Can I just say thank you guys? I'm on the official record. I think this is exciting. There's so much community involved. I really appreciate what everyone's doing here. I think that it's very healthy interaction with the community. This is great. This is what it should be. Thank you. Thank you.
Good.
Hey, hold on.
I just wanted to make an introduction. This is Rex. I don't know if you know Rex.
Yeah, I know, right?